Good morning. Hoping you're all okay. I just thought I'd do a FaceTime because I haven't done one for a while. And I was thinking that it's just a nice quiet morning here, and the weather obviously hasn't been too great in the last few weeks, apart from at the weekend. And I just love the rain. And as you can see, I'm out in my, gear. I've got my muddy, very, very, very muddy boots on and muddy trousers. And I am just so happy and delighted to sit in the trees with my flask and just be. So I left home just after 7 this morning and just knew I had to come here just to be in the trees. I don't know, I'm just going to move the phone and then you can just see all around me and see up. I hope I'm not moving it too fast. But while I've been walking, I've been thinking very much about who am I? You know, many of you know that I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an author, I'm a psychic, I'm a healer, I'm a homeopath, and they're all labels. But who really am I? Who is Mary? Now, I'd like to think that I've got rid of most of my masks because I did wear them for many, many, many years, which was incredibly painful, I must say. I have some herbal tea in my flask and it's just a little bit nippy. But who am I at the end of the day? Some people could have a very clever answer. I am the sum total of all of my experiences. Yes, I am. Being aware of, past lives. Maybe I'm aware of the DNA and all those past lives. And obviously, while I was in Bali, and I do appreciate Wayan's watching this, so many people knew me from other lives. The respect for me was profound and actually very, very humbling. As I worked in the temples with, many of the high priests, and working in one of the secret temples that's dedicated to working with the aura and the chakras of the earth, which many of you know is my passion. Earth healing is a very, very dear passion. And I was talking to a very dear friend last night about going to and visiting all the earth chakras, Mount Shasta, Lake Titicaca, Mount Cook, which I just couldn't get to when I was in New Zealand, but I felt the energy there by all means. And I know I visited quite a few of the earth power centres, Luxor in Egypt, Familia Sagrada in Barcelona, Montserrat, and many, many more. And I have adored all of them. But who am I under all these layers? Last year was absolutely incredible to be able to travel, to be able to experience what I experienced, to be by the river Ganges in Varanasi in the morning and drink a cup of hot chai and just share stories, with the waiter, and just to sit there. And many of the other guests who came in the morning, they didn't even acknowledge him. They just placed their order. They didn't have eye-to-eye contact with him. So again, I come back to that thought, who am I at the end of the day? This is the real me. This is the real me who's still learning. Who am I? I'm just all of these layers. I'm passionate about most things in life. I'm passionate about my children. I'm passionate about my granddaughters. I'm passionate about my 2 step-grandchildren now. I'm passionate about my friends. I'm passionate about writing. I'm passionate about singing. I'm passionate about all the mistakes that I've learned in my life. And cheers for them, because were they mistakes? No, they were learnings. I'm passionate about embracing whatever changes come. Since I've been back in England, just getting kind of up and started again, getting the business going again. And I remember my daughter saying, one time, well, you're a businesswoman, Mum. And I thought, no, I'm not. I'm just good at what I do. In no way, shape or form am I a businesswoman. I just have a passion about what I do. And I'm very, very, very lucky that I was able to listen to my soul and do what I need to do. And, you know, that's ever growing. But one of the things that I learned from traveling, and believe you me, I learned many things, was that wherever you are in the world, you know, I got amongst the locals. Many of you know I'll talk to anybody. As long as they're a nice person, being able to see auric fields gives me that edge. If I see somebody with a dark energy field, I tend to walk away or approach with very assertive caution. But of course our vibe does attract our tribe when we're aware of law of attraction. And I attracted some very, very spiritual people, and many of them I'm still in touch with. So that was a real blessing and a real joy, to be honest. And I'm so delighted that I am in touch with so many people I travelled with. And travelling gives you something that is really quite incredible, because you have to learn to trust. You're in places that you've never been before. You know, in India you can't always read the signs, even for the exit for the railway station. They're not always in English. And you do feel so vulnerable sometimes. And, you know, having brought up 4 children on my own, having to make the decisions, working full time, doing the house up, you know, they're very masculine traits, and honouring my femininity. And as you can see, I've got a pink top on, and, you know, I've actually got pink merino socks on, and a pink buff for either keeping my hair back or if I get cold around my neck. They're an absolutely great thing. But I do try and honour my feminine now, whereas I had to be masculine for so many years. I certainly have no intention of having a manicure and perfect nails and painting my toenails, you know, and I haven't got any lippy on this morning because I left early and I forgot. But, you know, we're back to that question, who am I? I don't know, and to be honest, I don't care. What I do know is that I'm passionate about many things. I'm passionate about music. I'm passionate about writing. I'm passionate about reading, and passionate about encouraging people to read. And I know it's discipline and time and all the rest of it. Many people have asked me to do an audiobook, and it may be something that I do in the future. But I do believe that one book can change your life. And I've spoken to many people who found over the years that one book has changed their life. And it may not be my book, it might be The Secret, it might be Celestine Prophecy, it might be Dave Pelzer, A Child Called It, you know. And it's funny, since I came back to England, I'm already on Amazon and I've ordered goodness knows how many books already. And I'm really lucky that, you know, I've already relocated some of my books from the people who I gave them to since I came back. And I must have given away 300 or 400 books, and I gave them away with love, you know. So many people said, put your furniture in storage, put your crystals in storage and everything else, and that just didn't feel right. I want things to be used, and okay, if they get damaged or they get lost or books get borrowed and they don't come back, everything's meant to be. So, you know, I have explained to a few of you that it's quite daunting just kind of getting the business up and running again, getting me up and running again. And it is, you know, I am vulnerable. As you can see, it's a little bit windy here. I just love this spot. I'll just stand up very gently so I don't make you dizzy and sick. But there's a beautiful log. This is my space, you know. And I just sit here, I just check for the slugs. And I'm right near the reservoir. I'll just go for a walk down to the reservoir. And it's such a quiet spot. But that's one of the beautiful, graceful trees. And I don't know if you can see the one in the distance, but I'm right near the reservoir. And I just love coming here in the mornings or sometimes in the evenings, you know, it depends what I'm doing. But what a beautiful spot, you know, and I'm fascinated by the roots, because here, you know, when you walk, and I love walking in the mud, as you can see, thank goodness for hot, clean water. It's just incredible how all of these trees, you can feel feel the presence here of the trees. You can feel the presence of the elementals, the devas, you know. And thank goodness, I don't know how far the camera will stretch, but the reservoir, when I first came back here, was absolutely incredibly low, probably the lowest I've ever seen it. I've been walking here for 17 years. I'm passionate about water. I'm passionate about healing water. I haven't yet been up to the lake since I got back, not just because of the COVID, but practical reasons. I needed to re-establish myself with my granddaughters. But look at this tree. Look at the wonder of trees, you know. This is a tree that's been long dead. But look at that splendour. Look at nature in its most beautiful form. So, yeah, who am I? We're back to that question. Obviously, as a hypnotherapist, psychotherapist and life coach, you know, I help other people find out who they are. And I'm still finding me. So, you know, I can just do the best with who I am and what I am. I'm going to sit down again now, which you'll probably be relieved at, and take the hair out of my face. But I'm just checking for slugs. I don't want to squash them. I'm not frightened of slugs anymore, which is amazing. And that was through emotional freedom technique and a lot of personal work, you know, to clear that phobia. And it was a past life anyway, but it was very real to me. But who am I under all this? I'm just me. I'm just passionate about pretty much everything I do. I made a lovely meal last night. A friend came around for tea. And I'm living at my friend Jennifer's, and the three of us just sat down and we had a lovely meal, a simple conversation. And we have 2 cats at home, and I love the cats dearly. And in the night I can hear the owls and sometimes the peacocks, sometimes the sheep. And I'm passionate about all that. I'm passionate about encouraging people to be who they really are under all the layers of you know, the stifling social and religious and political etiquette that we should all be a particular way and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And how many of us can really be who we are? You know, this is me, happy as Larry with a flask in the middle of the woods, starting the day on some fruit and a cereal bar and a flask of herbal tea. It's definitely not vodka, I assure you. And I'm just ever learning, I'm ever growing. I've just met so many new people since I got back, and new clients, and done online readings and different things. And what a privilege and an honour to be able to help somebody to perhaps understand themselves more, understand their families. And I think for me, being able to accept myself more, because, you know, I have made many mistakes in life, but hopefully I'd like to say I've grown from them, and I'm still growing. Every day is a learning curve in some way. But the more I accept myself, of course, it's just getting a little bit chilly here, and especially just sitting in the woods and the trees. But the more I accept myself, the more I can accept you guys. And of course, if I don't accept myself, how on earth can I work with people to help them to fulfill their potential, to listen to their soul, to connect with the heart? And for years, you know, I played the victim, I played the martyr, look at me, poor mum, single mum on my own, blah, blah, blah. And that time wasn't wasted, because that's the time we grow. But in some ways, I wish I was the person then that I am now. But of course, that's not to be, is it? We're all on a learning curve, and sometimes a very, very steep learning curve for growth. But to me, it's about connecting. You know, here, many of the people out this morning are people who love nature, people who love the dogs, and it's lovely just to see the dogs running around, and really, really happy dogs who almost smile from ear to ear, you know. It's about being present and being in the moment, you know. we talk about the present being a gift. And how many times, God, I dread to think how many actual probably years I've wasted thinking about the past, running into the future, not knowing what's really coming. And, you know, the fear as I was selling my house and letting go of everything and entering into that unknown journey when I left England on the 28th of January 2019 last year, you know, the fear was like, what the are you doing, you know? And it was scary. But I'm glad I did it. And I remember when I came back and I first saw my brother and his wife and my nephews and niece, and my sister-in-law said, you know, Mary, do you miss your house? And before she'd finished the sentence, I said, no. And many of you have been in the house. Many of you know how much I loved it. And I was really grateful that my sons and my father helped me do the house up. And my mum, you know, I remember being covered in wallpaper and the ceiling fell down in the room that was to be my bedroom. And you're covered in dust and it's up your nose, it's in your mouth, it's in your ears, it's in your hair, you know. And the honour of doing the house up. And I know that the people who have it now, you know, they've put a lovely archway over the gate and they put a new gate on, and the beautiful pine tree that was right in the corner of the garden is still there, thank goodness, because I love that tree. And they've made it a home and they love it. And I'm really grateful for that. And I truly don't know where I'm going. I don't know, you know, where I'll end up, but I'm in the moment and that's all that matters. So who are any of us under all these layers, under all these masks, under all the conditioned belief systems? You know, there's so much fear around this COVID at the moment. And, you know, if I'm meant to die, I really don't give one because I know where I'm going. And I'm going into the light. And having had 2 near-death experiences, I'm not frightened at all. But I am not living a life full of fear because of COVID. I am not going to get so frightened that I can't go out. I refuse to watch the news because most of it's BS anyway, but you know, if any of you want to pull me up on that, then that's okay. I just want to live life as much as I can, and coming back, reconnecting with many of you, and I know there's many of you that wanted to see me before I left the UK and many of you that still want to see me. And I just feel like, you know, I've just about got my head above water now. I loved meeting my new granddaughter, Phoebe. She's such a delight. She's 14 months old, and my daughter-in-law, Ali, had said to her when I was visiting at the weekend, Grandma's coming. And 14 months old, she's just learning to talk, and she went, Mama. And of course I missed it because it was before I got there. And bless her, I picked her up out of the swing because they were gardening when I got there. And I picked her up and she was just looking at me as much as say, Grandma, where have you been? You know, because I lived with them for 2.5 weeks before I moved. And just as I was going, I said to her, Grandma's going now. And I was sat on the toilet in the bathroom adjacent to the kitchen, and she just went, Mama, Mama. And it just, you know, just the simple things in life. My granddaughters are looking forward to a sleepover. And I love getting in touch with my inner child, you know. I love just getting hold of a colouring book. I bought myself a word search the other day because I just love doing it. I proofread The Dance of the Mosquito, the 5th book, because I am actually writing the 6th. I proofread that and handed it to Tony a while ago, Tony Johnson, and if you're watching, you're amazing because you're a diamond. I can hear people in the distance, so I don't know if you'll pick them up, but we'll see what happens. But when Tony and I went through it and we proofread it together on Tuesday morning, and I had made some mistakes. Instead of chai tea, I'd written chia, and I hadn't even realised. And this is the thing, you can't proofread your own book because you read what you think you've done. But there were so few mistakes, and it was very humbling, and to reread it after, about 4 months, I think, since I proofread it in Geneva while we were on lockdown and there wasn't much to do. But when we took a break at lunchtime after about 3.5 hours, I was in tears in the kitchen. And I thought, God, the honour of writing that book, the honour of having those experiences, of meeting the people I met, of eating different food, of seeing the coconut trees, of sitting by the lake in Pokhara, of visiting the Buddhist stupa, and all the people who really brought precious memories to me. My friend Deep, who took me up to the Buddhist stupa, and walking up there because we couldn't get the bus, we were dripping with sweat in very hot temperatures, and we were sharing the water and just sharing in meditation with someone. And when we were walking down, he'd arranged for his friend to meet us in the rowing boat, and we rowed back to the other side of the lake. I really wanted to get on the lake, but I didn't trust myself in a canoe. For those of you who have watched me in the canoe, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If any of my children are watching this, I'm no doubt you'll be howling because you know what your mother's like, and a crazy mum, But it's taken me a long time to honour my crazy side, my wacky sense of humour, to allow myself to be stupid at times, to swing on the swings with my granddaughters, to really embrace walking in the mud, because I love being muddied up. I love just being able to sit on this log here in the woods and just listen to the sound of the trees, listen to the nothingness. So how do we define ourselves? Am I a label? No. I am all of everything that I am, and I'm still learning. And I don't know if you can hear the birds here. I'm passionate about the birds. I'm passionate about wildlife. I found a few plastic bottles and things while I've been out walking, and those things I just feel sad about. Why do people leave litter everywhere? It's just not right. I mean, I would like to think that everything gets recycled when we put it in the bin, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But all I can do, just excuse me one moment, is to, be my authentic self. Sorry, I banged the phone then. And, just put stuff in the rubbish if I can, and just be the best that I can. It is getting a little bit chilly here. So I'm passionate about the food I eat, I'm passionate about trying to source organic fruit and veg if I can. I don't eat meat because it doesn't agree with me. I mean, I don't really want to go into slaughterhouses and things like that. It just makes me feel sick. And I know when I was in India, in Mumbai, there was a van with chickens on it, and many of them were dead, and the stench was horrendous. And it's moments like that you just think, thank goodness, I don't eat meat. But it's personal choice for all of us, for goodness sake. You can get organic meat. But, I do eat eggs, and we have a farm not far from the house, and they have the beautiful free-range eggs, and you can see the chickens. And you pay a bit extra, but you know what? Excuse me 1 minute. The joys of being out in the cold and a drippy nose. There's nothing like free-range eggs. They're orange rather than the battery chickens. But it's just a personal choice. How many choices do we make every single day? As a hypnotherapist, you've done the training. We tend to have between 70 and 90,000 thoughts a day, and we're making decisions all the time. We decide what healthy habits we have, to brush your teeth, to have a wash. We decide what stuff we use in the washing machine. I try and use ecologically friendly stuff all the time, but if I can't get hold of it, there's no point beating yourself up, because sometimes it just is. I just try and give the best of myself to everybody I meet, be it someone on a walk, even the dogs this morning, I gave them a beautiful welcome. There was a lady on a beautiful horse, and I gave the horse a welcome. And I just try and smile. And of course, some days, none of us feel like smiling all the time. So, who am I under all this? I don't know. And I don't really care. I'm just doing the best that I can, you know. I'm grateful that I've been able to come back to England and see my parents again, and luckily they're both fine. You know, they've been in because they're both vulnerable with COVID. My brother's been looking after them, and he's been great. So, you know, thumbs up to my little brother. And it's been lovely to see my other little brother, who is still doing his house up, and the garden's looking amazing, and I hopefully will get to see you again soon. You know, from coming back, it's 7 weeks yesterday since I got back. And, you know, the first 2.5 weeks catching up with my family and my granddaughters was just incredible. And I was just so blessed to be there. And I was exhausted because, you know, my son said, "Mum, you're not the house bitch. Just rest. I'm the house bitch. Just leave it," you know. Him and his wife both work, you know, and it's hard work. And with COVID, they've not had any support, particularly for 3 months. It was really hard on them. So after those 2.5 weeks, when I moved in with a friend, and I'm very, very grateful to be where I am. And when you've been to India and you've seen people who live under a piece of tarpaulin, if they're lucky, you know, that's all they have. You see them cooking on the street, and they pretty much have nothing. It's a very humbling thing to, you know, be actually here and be dressed and have boots and be able to have food that I can eat when you see people begging in the streets. It's very, very, very humbling. And I just hope that I managed to capture that in the book. I hope that, you know, when I speak to any of you and you ask me about my travels, you know, what have I learnt? And I think I'm still processing many of the learnings. And I think, you know, when I arrived where I am now in Abbey Village, I was exhausted. I just slept for 3 days. And then just kind of building myself up again. I felt that there were soul fragments. Many of you said, you know, parts of me were still in Geneva, and that's probably true, because I just love Geneva. I love France. I love that part of Switzerland, and you know, I have so many friends there. I'm so blessed. So who am I coming back? I don't know. I'm still finding out who I am. I'm just grateful that I can be here in the trees. I'm grateful for all the food that I have and the clothes that I have, because when you live out of a suitcase, you know, if you lost a t-shirt on the beach or a pair of shorts, or you know, something rips, that's it. You know, if you're not near any shops or you can't get your size. And because certainly when I was in Bali trying to get a pair of shoes, because most people are very small, you know, I'm nearly 6 foot tall, I'm quite broad, I've got big hands, big feet. The Balinese women are tiny. I had to get blouses that were tailor-made, and I know when the women were measuring me, they were like, "Wow, you're huge by comparison." And there were so many, just the tiniest of experiences that will stay with me forever. Just waking up and looking at the coconut trees, watching people shimmy up the coconut trees. You know, the locals can do it with their feet. It's like, wow. And they carry around these huge chopping knives so they can just, you know, cut down a coconut, or, you know, cut down a piece of fruit or bananas or whatever. And seeing the banana trees, seeing the monkeys in India. And believe you me, they're very, very clever creatures. Don't ever be under the illusion that monkeys are just fairy animals, because they're not. They're highly intelligent. You know, the coordination between them and the camaraderie between them when they work together for food is really, really something else. So, yeah, back to that question, who am I? I don't know, and it's okay not to know. And I'm still learning. And I learn every day something new, not because I educate myself and, I'm reading books and I do learn from you guys when you guys approach me and you need healing, or you want me to hypnotize you and you've come through your life wounds or your journeys or broken relationships. We're all weathered. But isn't that the beauty of life? To actually appreciate how we've become weathered. Broken relationships, friendships we've lost, friends that we've lost touch with. A dear friend of mine passed away of cancer last week. But I can treasure those memories. It's how I choose to look at that. My friends in Bali and those places, will I ever go back there again? I'd love to. I'd love to visit New Zealand again. Standing in the airport with Matthew, my son, we were both in tears. Matthew's 6'7", he's a bit like a brick house, as all my boys are. And just the tears that flowed. Mum, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I don't know where I'm going to see you again. I know I will see you again. And thank goodness for Messenger and other things where we're in touch. But, recently Matthew had an emergency appendectomy and his appendix had actually burst by the time he got to the hospital. And I'm just so grateful for the people that he lives with in New Zealand. I'm so grateful for the medical staff. And I'm so grateful that I know he's okay. I'm so grateful for my intuition, that I could tune into him and send him healing. And, he's at the other end of the world, literally. He's in New Zealand. But I know he's okay. So, when you're a mum, I'm 53 years old. Matthew's just turned 30. I'm grateful for all my children. And sometimes they've challenged me, many times they've challenged me. And how beautiful that is, that they do challenge me. They get me to look deeper at myself. They know when I'm grumpy, because I'm not always on full form, because none of us are. But who am I? I think I am the sum total of my vulnerabilities. And I'm okay to be vulnerable now. I found it okay that if I need to cry in company, I will cry. And I had some moments this morning just walking through the woods and, with my trusted tissues, and there was a guy approaching me with his dog, and I thought, if he sees me crying, I'm not actually that bothered anymore. And I don't really know what I was crying for, and that's okay too. So I don't know what today will hold for me. I left the house after 7. I've still got some trusty herbal tea left in my flask because I am a little bit cold now after standing talking to you guys. But I'm okay, don't worry, I'll be warm within a few minutes of walking. My battery is going on my phone. I'm on less than 10%, so if it does cut out, I'm sorry. I will try and bring this to a close as quickly as I can without it shutting down. But what the day will hold, I don't know. Many of you have given me testimonials for the book, so I've got those to sort out. I've got some other paperwork to do. I haven't seen some of my granddaughters for just over a week. It was Lavender's birthday on Monday. She was 7. And I haven't seen them this week because I've had some paperwork and, the usual stuff to sort out. So I might pop over there because I am really missing them. I might leave it till the weekend, I don't know, but how many times have I planned and tried to control my life? I dread to think, I've talked about being in the moment and being in the present. So I'm just going to I'm just going to go back and maybe have some Linda McCartney sausages with HP sauce. I might have some fruit salad. I might have some granola. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. I will be having an Earl Grey tea or a Lady Grey tea because that is a habit that I absolutely love. I will be having some chia seeds. And other than that, I've no idea. So whatever you're doing today, just be in the moment as much as you can. I know many of you are on the private group, Come Home to Your Inner Heart. I know many of you have private messaged me and put messages on there. I hope you're enjoying it because it's just about reflections. A lot of the ancient cultures, the Aztecs, the Mayas, the Incas used to reflect and take time at the end of the day to assemble around the campfire, to talk, to sing, to say, what was on their mind in a nice way, to give constructive criticism, to look at what they'd done well, to give praise where it was deserved, and also what they'd done wrong, and to actually honour that, because none of us are without our, hurts, emotional baggage, blah, blah, blah. We're all a work in progress. But honour your work in progress. Take a deep look at yourself. Give yourself praise for what you deserve. And honour the learnings, the broken bits of you, because we all have them. I have lots and lots of them. But when we can honour all our broken pieces, the wabi-sabi, I think that's great. And I'm still learning to honour my broken bits. So just be who you are and have a good day, whatever you're doing. And I hope this has helped you. So I'll try and do the FaceTimes. Just coming back has been so overwhelming, and I apologise. I know I said I'd do them, but just finding my feet again. And some of the English words I've even forgotten because I've been speaking that many different languages, or at least trying to. So wherever you are in the world, be it New Zealand, Bali, Pokhara, Nepal, Kathmandu, India, America, England, just enjoy the day. Just be happy in yourself. Just be in the moment. And if, like me, you're covered in mud and you're going to be very grateful for a shower and a washing machine when you get back, just be grateful. Be grateful that you've got food in the cupboards. Be grateful that you're well. Be grateful for your physical fitness. So my love to all of you, wherever you are. And I will hopefully see you all in turn. God bless. Bye. Bye.